Greetings, English 50, forgive my allergies, English 50 folks. I was going to show you, and I'm going to show you a little bit here about how to proceed with skinning a controversy. You know, there's nothing like a good argument to start your pulse rate higher, to get that blood flowing. But in the end result, although we may be very emotional about a certain topic, we also want to make sure that we've looked at all sides of the issue in a fair and impartial way. At the same time, we're strongly advancing our own point of view. So here's something interesting. You know, you can be up to the moment on this, up to the minute. And of course, you've heard about the Oklahoma University fraternity racism incident on the bus, and I'm sure you've seen it. And so here are ways of approaching a topic like that. This I found rather interesting, and I haven't read through all of it, but this article from the Washington Post indicates that the fraternity is considering a lawsuit against the university. Now, this is presumably because the university shut down the frat house and had it vacated. And you can take a position on this. I mean, you can read about this lawsuit and both sides of it and go into depth on that and take a position on that alone. Does that potential lawsuit on the part of the fraternity against the university for taking stiff disciplinary action, does that have sufficient merit, or is it not warranted? So that's what you're looking at. That is a possibility. Or you could take another approach on it entirely, that such kinds of racist songs, comments, and so on are virtually systemic to many fraternities, and this is not an isolated incident, and you could attempt to show that. I don't have any idea whether anything resembling this is alive and well on the Porterville College campus. I certainly hope not. But I simply wanted you to realize there are lots and lots of ways to go with something like this. You could also take the position that, and by the way, should or should not oftentimes will work well for a thesis on an essay like this, but the discipline handed down by the university itself should have been much more severe. I mean, if you want to take that position, and so on. Or any other alternate position. So take a look at these kinds of things and dig into them. So let's look at how you can do this. Well, first, forgive my typing, you want to come out with a thesis, I think. You want to state your thesis. So, for example, the proposed, and I'm going to just, because my typing's so terrible, complete that. But the proposed lawsuit on behalf of the Oklahoma fraternity accused of racism by the federal government as well as the university has little merit, or should be dropped, or should be pursued. You know, really it's up to you. But how do we then, let's say we've got a thesis, maybe we're not entirely happy with it. You know, you can subordinate it, that is, put in the alternate point of view even in your thesis. Although it is understandable that the Oklahoma fraternity accused of racism would believe that its rights have been violated, the proposed lawsuit on its behalf has little merit. Or so, do you see how this works? I am glad. Okay, so then you're looking at making a provisional laundry list, or maybe you do a cluster, however you want to do it, of points that you can make on your side. In other words, traditionally called the pros, right? So go ahead, go into those. That the offense itself was of such a lawyer would say, egregious nature, that the shutdown of the fraternity house was completely justified. And you can go into detail on that because what? You've informed yourself. You've read some of the articles. ABC News has links on this. If you want these links, I'll send them to you, but you can find them as easily. Just don't go for blogs wiki, these kinds of really superficial sources, just somebody blowing off steam. No, that's not what we're looking for. In fact, we're not looking for just blowing off steam. We're looking for you to showcase your very powerful reasoning capabilities. Okay, so I mean, then you get to, and you can cluster if you want, but then we get to, once we've got some of those points, then we want to get to what are some of the points in opposition? What are the objections to my point of view? Whatever yours happen to be, list a few of those. If you can't come up with them, if you can't imagine them, then simply go into more depth and detail in your reading so that you can come up with them. Your opposition is your best friend on this, believe me, on any kind of argument, because that gives you the sparring partner that you need. That's your opposition. Engage the opposition. So I'm going to make this final point. You can make topic outlines if you want on this kind of thing. Don't have to, but you certainly can. And you can break this down. And again, look in your Seagull. There are all kinds of formats for argumentation. But here's what I'm going to suggest. Don't simply step aside for a large section of your essay and imagine that, oh, it's good, it's all neutral, and my job is just to come in at the very end and weigh in because it's, quote, up to the reader to make up his or her mind. What a bunch of, may I say this, BS that is. Yes, you can quote me on that. That's not objectivity. That's a detachment that removes you from analysis along the way. So I'm going to say intervene. Analyze those arguments and weigh and evaluate them as you go. What are the strengths and weaknesses of those arguments on both sides, and interact with them along the way in the essay. Not, here's this huge block of prose and several paragraphs. Now, readers, I'm going to use this huge block of cons. Now, reader, I'm going to give you an artificial conclusion. Oh my, please, 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 spare me that. Get involved. It's real life. It's a debate. It's as if you were in a very lively debate in a courtroom, for example. Okay, well, that's all I have for you for now, but I really, really, really hope that helps. Let me know how I can help you out.